Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It is 9 o'clock on a Monday, which means it's time for a 5x5. Now, this is where I take 5 subjects related to magic. I spend 5 minutes talking about each subject, and I move on to the next subject. It's always quick, it's always snappy, and you never know what you're going to get. Well, today, I'm going to be talking to you about releasing magic commercially to magicians. Now, I have been releasing magic tricks for many years. You know, back in the day, I bought a ton of stuff out with World Magic Shop, and that was for many years. And then when I came back to the community, I've worked with Penguin, Vanishing Ink, Trick Boom, 1914, Murphy's Magic Directly, TCC. The list goes on and on and on. And I've won a few different awards creating magic tricks. A lot of them have been really successful. And the question that comes up over and over again on this channel is, how can I release a successful magic trick? How can I release a trick as a creator that's going to be commercially successful? Well, I've talked about my creative process in the past, and I've talked about how to create magic. But what I want to do on this video is I want to talk about 5 ways to make your trick instantly more commercial. Not for gigs, but for selling to other magicians. Because let's be honest, generally as a rule, magicians aren't buying magic. They're buying solutions, they're buying confidence, they're buying the ability to open a package, learn it, ideally as quickly as possible, and go, yeah, I can actually use this. It's not going to end up in my bottom drawer. Now, you can tell when I take things seriously. I have a piece of paper with notes on it. I've got notes here. So if you want to create a trick and you want to sell that trick to magicians and you want it to be commercially successful, then and also therefore when you pitch it to production companies, they're more inclined to go, yes, that is a trick that I want to buy. Then there's 5 things that you need to include in the trick that you're creating. Because here's the thing, you could create a magic trick just for you, and it would work perfectly for you, for your style, for your show, but it might not work for anybody else. It might be completely unique for you, and it might be perfect for your show, but it might not be perfect for the wider community. And I've had tricks that have gone really well, I've had tricks that haven't gone as well, and I analyze everything, and I try to work out what makes a trick successful? What makes a trick more commercially successful? And sometimes it's just hit and miss. Sometimes a trick you think is going to do brilliantly ends up not doing as well. And a trick that you think, that'll do okay, ends up smashing it out the park. A perfect case in point is the Z-Fold wallet project. I spent a year working on that, a couple of years working on that, and I thought, you know what? I don't know how successful this is going to be. I want to do it because I really have a burning desire to show magicians how a Z-Fold wallet can really be a seriously powerful commercial utility device. But I didn't think it'd be that popular because everyone takes their Z-Fold wallet and throws it in their drawer. But the amount of people that have bought the Z-Fold wallet project and are raving about the material on it, it surprised me. I did not think it would do as well as it has. So that's a perfect example, right? So, without further ado, 5 things that I genuinely think that if you include this in your creation, it's going to help make your product more successful. So first of all, and this is going to be the most hypocritical thing that I've ever said in my life, but I'm going to make point number 1, make it easy to learn and make it quick to understand. Now, I actually made a note here. Try to avoid the 3-hour tutorial. But what I mean by that, because everybody knows that I spend a long time doing really long tutorials for some of my projects. I just talked about the Z-Fold wallet project. That's nearly a 5-hour tutorial. But the thing that I'm trying to understand, the thing I want you to understand is when I talk about make it easy to learn, make it simple to learn, make it succinct, what I'm trying to say is no waffling. Now, I have a habit of waffling and I try to avoid that as much as possible. And I really try to script myself tightly when I'm doing the tutorials. But what you don't want to do is spend 40 minutes talking about the history of the trick. Spend 40 minutes talking about how to set it up. I have watched some tutorials and it's a 3-hour tutorial and it's literally could be explained in 10 minutes. I do long tutorials, but again, looking at the Z-Fold wallet project, there's like almost 30 tricks on the Z-Fold wallet project, right? And it's 4 hours long. So it's like boom, 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 boom. It really is. There's a lot of stuff going on there. So commercial products, I've got a note here, commercial products have clarity. When a magician watches the trailer or reads the ad copy, they should instantly understand the following: what the effect is, why it's strong, and how hard the learning curve is. If your trick overcomplicates itself, it dies on the shelf. You want it more commercial, make the learning experience smooth, simple, and fast. So you'll see with a lot of the products that I bring out, if it's a really expansive trick, in the first 5 or 10 minutes, I'm going to basically give you a quick overview of exactly what it is. So in that first 5 or 10 minutes, you could literally just take what it is that I've taught you and go and run with it. If it's a multi-effect project like the tech deck or the button or the magic button project or something like that, I cover all of the sleights beforehand. The reason I do that is because as a person who watches magic an awful lot as well, I hate it when I'm watching a tutorial and we get to the point where, for example, I need to do an Elmsley count, and now the person's teaching me how to do an Elmsley count again when I already know how to do that, but I don't know how forward to skip. So by doing sleights at the very beginning and covering all of those basic sleights, if it's somebody who's more experienced in magic, they can go straight to the tricks and not worry about the sleights. But if you're new into magic and you want to see all the different sleights and all the different moves, that section's in there. Or you can skip that, you can get to the trick, and if I cover a sleight that you don't know, you can go back and you can learn that sleight. So having a sleight section at the beginning is very important. Having a quick overview is very important. But also, I think it's really important that if you're bringing out a multi-effect project, you make sure that there's one hero trick. There's one trick that defines that. So, for example, there's a load of stuff on the eye stretch project, but the main trick is that you borrow an AirPod, it stretches, it squashes into a deck of cards, and then it disappears and it goes back into the AirPod case. That's kind of the main trick on the iStretch project. Now, there's lots of other things that you can do with iStretch, but that's kind of the main trick. And it's the same with everything. If you look at Mind Blocks was very, very popular and continues to sell really well. And, the main trick is a 3-phase trick. That's what's in the trailer. That's what we talk about in the ad copy. And then we say there's lots of other things that you can do with this as well. Having lots of other uses is a sales point, but you want to make sure that you very clearly demonstrate exactly what it is and what it does. Again, looking at the Magic Button project, not the one I did with Chris James, but the one I did with Penguin, where the signature ends up on the back of a card with a magic button on, that is the only trick we talk about on the trailer. Now, Magic Button does a load more stuff. Anybody who's got Magic Button will know you can do a ton of stuff with it. But on the trailer, on the ad copy, we go through that, on the trailer and on the ad copy, we go and just cover that one trick. Because sometimes less is more. If you can focus on one trick and everyone goes, wow, that's amazing, I want to learn that, then the rest of it's just icing on the cake. The point I'm trying to say, like I said here, is you have to make it easy to learn, quick to understand. Try to cover everything in the first 5 or 10 minutes so that people can literally go out and start doing it immediately. They get what the effect is, and then you can go from beyond there. Okay, number 2, and I've got really detailed notes here. Number 2, make it practical, else there's a very good chance that trick is going to tank immediately. Here's the truth, most creators hate hearing. If your trick looks great but requires angle-sensitive moves or moves that are a nightmare to do, really, really difficult moves, or if you're doing constant pocket management and going in and out of your pockets constantly, or painfully delicate props that will break within 0.2 seconds, or resets that require an engineering degree, you're going to get killed in the reviews. And I've seen that happen. I've seen it happen to me. Magicians buy on potential, but they keep a trick based on practicality. If it can be done at a gig, if it can be done surrounded, if it can be done standing, if it can be done to people in a walk around mix and mingle situation where you're cramped in, it becomes the commercial. And if it doesn't do any of that, and it's perceived as not having those qualities to it, it's going to end up in the bottom drawer. That will be reflected in the in the secondhand magic sites. That will be reflected in that'll be reflected in the reviews, and then the product will have a shelf life of nothing, right? So this is where trying these things out in the real world works wonders, right? And look, I'm not saying you shouldn't have an angle sensitive social media trick, but for God's sake, make sure that people are aware that it's designed for social media. Don't have your cake and eat it as well. Don't bring a trick out that will literally only work from one camera angle and then tell on the ad copy, oh, this is a perfect trick to work in a live environment, because that's not going to cut it either. You have to be honest with magicians. You've only got one chance to make a first impression, and you're only as good as your last trick. You can have the biggest hit in the world, but if your next trick flops and people think that you've lied about it, then look at the atomic deck, right? I love the atomic deck. I'm leaving to do a show in a bit. I will be having the atomic deck in the show, but February this year, a percentage of people were not happy with the atomic deck for whatever reason, and look at the backlash it caused, right? So you have to be completely honest with people at all times, and you have to tell people the way it is. And this is where working this material in the real world really matters, because if you work this material in the real world to real people, you will make sure that all of these boxes are ticked. You'll make sure it's commercial. You'll make sure there's a reset. Look, I had a trick that I created about 2 years ago that I wanted to release, and it was phenomenal. And I had a company that wanted to release it, and it was a really great trick. But you know what? It was the sort of trick that you do in a real world gigging situation, and the reset was about 5 minutes long. It was such a long reset. And I said to the company, I said, I can't release this. I'm not going to release it because my reputation's on the line here. People have a certain expectation when I release a magic trick, and one of those things that they expect is that it's commercial, it's usable by workers. If I put something out there that's got like a 5-minute reset, then this is a problem, because people know that I'm not going to be doing this in the real world, and everything I've bought out, everything I've ever created and released and made available to the magic community, I have worked in for a very long period of time. And I said, this goes against everything that I stand for. I'm not going to release this, and I never have. And it's an amazing idea. I promise you, if most creators had it, they'd release it, and that's fine. And it's a really great trick, very, very different. But I just couldn't do that, right? You have to make sure that you make the trick as practical as possible. If people are raving about this online, if people are going, oh my gosh, this is practical, this is really good, there's no pocket management issues, there's no angle issues, there's no reset issues. If the reviews are stating that, and people are loving it, then your product will continue to sell and continue to sell and continue to sell. And depending on the company you go with, that means that you're going to continue to get royalties for that trick. But it starts with going out and taking it in the real world. And I can always tell when a trick has come out and it's never been worked in the real world. I can tell, because it's just half-arsed at best. And I think to myself, if you'd actually done this in a real world environment to real people, then you never, ever, 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 ever would have got into a situation where you think this is good. So yeah, make it practical, make it commercial, make it something that will work in the real world, else it's going to tank immediately. Okay, so number 3, and this is kind of an extension of number 2, but I think it deserves its own point. It's so important. Make the reset simple and obvious. If your reset takes more than 5 to 10 seconds or requires privacy, like you've got to nip off to the toilets away from a group of people, that doesn't exist in the real world. Magicians are not going to like that trick. Nothing kills a product faster than a great effect, a great gimmick, but a terrible reset. Creators always forget this. Buyers never forget this. Look at the Magic Cafe. Look at Magicians Only. Look at anywhere where magicians discuss magic tricks. One of the first questions that will come up is, what's the reset like? How fast does it take to reset? Can I reset it in front of people? Do I have to go way out the corner to reset it? What do I have to do? If you want your trick to sell, you must be able to say in the ad copy, instant reset or resets in less than 5 seconds. These 2 words will sell more tricks than any ad copy ever will. You have to make sure that that trick is resettable. But you don't have to make sure it's resettable. But here's the thing. If you bring out a trick, I guarantee you it's not going to do as well if it's got a slow reset, or if you have to go out the way, it's not going to do as well as a trick that is instantly resettable. If it's a close-up trick, if you're a stage performer, if it's a stage trick, that's a different kettle of fish. But let's be honest. Bringing out stage magic is a niche within a niche. If you want your trick to be really commercially successful and you want everyone to talk about it and you want everyone to buy it, bringing out stage magic as a niche within a niche, because less magic is a niche in its own right, but then less people do stage magic than do close-up magic, so less people are going to buy that. And then, you know, it's subjective as to what somebody will like and not like, and so on and so forth. So you want to try and make at least your first few releases, you want them to be close-up, you want them to appeal to the biggest audience that you can, and that is a close-up trick, something that will appeal to amateurs, something to hobbyists, something that will appeal to working professionals. You want people to buzz about this, so everyone talks about how amazing it is, and really that is down to certain factors, and one of those big factors is the reset. Okay, number 4, this is a big one. Make the props durable, attractive, and usable. Commercial products do not fall apart after 10 performances. Commercial products do not look dodgy or suspicious. Commercial products don't require you to treat them like a museum exhibit. If your gimmick breaks easily, if it bends, warps, fades, cracks, or relies on cheap printing, you are guaranteeing refunds. Modern magicians expect professional props, high quality, well made, consistent. If it feels premium when they open the box, you've won half the battle. Case in point, from my own personal point of view, is a trick that I bought out with Prop Dog a few years ago, which is Crystallize. Now, Crystallize is an amazing trick, and I still do it to this day. But the problem was, when Prop Dog created the solid salt shakers, they used a gel, which when settled, and we weren't aware of this, when settled caused the solid salt shaker concept to look very bubbly, and it looked like it had bubbles in it, and it was terrible. And the problem is, people were unhappy, they were complaining, they were asking for refunds, they were going on the cafe talking about this issue, and it was an issue, right? And you all know the Crystallize situation from back in the day, but you know, that could have easily have been fixable if the prop went out exactly as it was meant to go out. One of the first things that you'll see when magicians are discussing magic tricks is how durable the gimmick is. I know magicians, lots of magicians, me included, that will never use tricks that use elastic thread, because I know elastic thread is going to break at some point. It's not a question of if it will break, it's a question of when it will break, and I don't want to have that hassle to deal with. I don't want to then have to go and buy another trick or sit there with a needle and a thread and fix that invisible elastic thread. So a lot of flap cards for me, I'll be honest, are out, especially if they use invisible elastic thread. But I'm not the only person. As a magic reviewer, I see tricks that I review all of the time, and they fall apart in 0.3 seconds. Like the Cyberpad, one of the worst tricks I've ever seen, just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. I've had tricks that I've had and I've wanted them to work, and they're falling apart within 10 seconds. I've contacted the magic company. They've sent me another one. I've sent that one back. That one didn't work. And it pisses people off. And the reason I talk about magicians discussing tricks online is because we are in a very niche industry. The magic community can make or break a trick when it comes out. They really can. They can make a trick super successful, or they can break it purely based on the questions that they're asking when the trick comes out and the answers that are coming back. I'll give you another example. Big Blind. Big Blind, my trick that came out earlier this year. Was it this year? I feel like it was this year. Earlier this year. Yeah, Big Blind. Came out earlier this year. No idea. So Big Blind came out earlier this year, and when it came out, it was launched at a magic convention before it actually even went online. And there was somebody who commented from that convention saying, "I bought it, and the poker chips look cheap." I can't remember exactly what was said. And so immediately when it was actually launched to magicians, the sales went under par, because everyone was like, "Oh, this trick's trash," because we've had one person make a comment saying that the quality of the props are bad. Now, when people started receiving their big blinds, loads of people went in the comments, "No, this is fine. These just look like the sort of poker chips that you'd have at home. There's not an issue. There's not an issue. Yeah, they're not clay, but it's totally not a problem. These work exactly as we'd expect them to." And at that point then, sales went through the roof. But it shows you how easily one person having one conversation on one forum can spread like wildfire. It's like the butterfly effect, right? With regards to time travel. A butterfly flaps its wings 50 years ago, and now the world's ended, right? You never know what repercussions one comment on one forum will have. It's why, as a creator, you have to be very, very present, and you have to be very, very, very good at communicating with your end user, because you want to make sure that they're getting the answers from the horse's mouth, and the horse's mouth is you. Don't rely on a production company. Don't rely on the retailer that's distributing the trick. You deal with it yourself, right? So the Big Blind is a perfect example. It underperformed and then it shot up and it did brilliantly, but that's because of what people were saying at the beginning. So you have to be able to control the narrative of a lot of these conversations. The way you control the narrative of a lot of these conversations is by just putting out a really great product that does what it says it's going to do. If you say it does this, do it. It's kind of like going into a shop and buying a suit that falls apart the first time you wear it. You're going to be pissed off and you're going to take it back. It's like buying a phone that falls apart and doesn't work. You're going to take it back. It's the same thing with a magic trick, except it's even more so because the magic community like to complain, they like to moan, and because it's a hobby as well as everything else, we have lots of discussion forums where we can discuss stuff on Reddit, on Facebook, on the Magic Cafe, on various different forums. So you want to basically, what I'm trying to say here is make sure that your quality control is on point. Make sure that your prop stands up to use, and make sure that the people that buy it are going to be happy with it when they bought it. Okay, so the last point right here is make it fit into what magicians are already performing. Now, this is where most creators completely and totally fall apart. You want to sell a trick. Make it work with regular decks, borrowed items, familiar plots, existing workflows, real world performing conditions. If your trick requires magicians to buy a weird prop, learn a new unnatural move, change their working set entirely, it's not going to sell as well as other props, no matter how good the method is. Magicians don't want to completely overhaul their set overnight. They want to have something that slots straight in. Create effects that integrate naturally, flow easily, and feel like something they could have been doing for years. That's why there's certain tricks in this industry that will always be popular. Wallets are always going to be popular. Whenever a new wallet comes out, everyone's going to go gaga. And the reason is, it's very easy for a magician to take out that wallet and put in that wallet. One of my favorite magicians of all time, Nemid Phoenix, has just changed his wallet, and he never changes stuff, and he's just changed his wallet. It's so easy to change wallets. Why wallets? It's why magicians and creators will always bring out new wallets, because it's very easy to slot that into a set. Ambitious card finales, that's another example, because every single magician does an ambitious card around the world. Every single magician does an ambitious card, and every single magician hasn't really got a finale for the ambitious card. The finale a lot of the time is, look, now the card's in my pocket, in my wallet, which isn't really a finale. It's a different trick. It's card to wallet. So when an actual finale to an ambitious card comes out that you tell a magician they can just slot into their ambitious card routine, all of a sudden now everyone's going to sit up and take notice. So if you want that, and that's a really important thing for a creator to understand, there are certain things that you have a better chance of that trick becoming more successful commercially if it's something that magicians talk about all the time. And the things that get magicians excited and the things that get magicians talking about all the time is where you can literally just replace something with something else. So the button has exploded, as we all know. Chris James, Joe Miranda, the button has done really well. Why has it done well? Well, it's a great prop. It's a really innovative idea. It's got a ton of routines with it. It's genius level thinking by Chris James. But the other thing you need to understand is it's a mystery box. Every magician does a mystery box. Yeah, it's why you see so many mystery boxes. Seriously, sit down and think about how many times you have seen a trick come out where a folded up card goes into a box. Right back from early, Caps card in box all the way through to present day. And even though the button has come out, I guarantee you there's going to be a ton of other carding boxes that come out. Every single creator that I can think of has at some point put an impossible location with a folded up card together, because we know as magicians or as creators, you will find a slot for that immediately. Anybody who bought the button can go, I'm going to use this because I can see where I'm going to use it. If a magician who is the end user, whether they're an amateur magician or a professional magician, if they can see where they can put that into their act, if they watch the trick and go, yeah, you know what, I can put that straight into my act, then it's going to be more successful. So Ape, that I've just brought out by Trick Trick Boom, is a great example. That's been really popular. And one of the reasons that's been really popular is because it's a packet trick but everybody can see it's a really good opener. You literally tell the story. It's got an interesting hook. It's got a really visual finish. Then you put the cards away. But think about 8 for a minute. So first of all, it's priced really well. Second of all, it's the props are really good quality. It even includes the little leather holder. Third of all, it's an instant reset. There's no angle issues. It's very easy to do. The tutorial's 20 minutes long. There's multiple live performances. There's no reset, as I say. You can do it right in front of the person. And people can look at it and go, I can see where I can put that, because a lot of people do packet tricks already, and they can go, yeah, I'll take that packet trick out. I'll put this one in, and that's a really cool update to my act, and nothing's really changed. And because it's easy, a lot of people are like, yep, that's it. I'm going to have that. That's why that trick is successful, right? And I paid Phil Smith money to design the artwork to make that trick work. So that is what I'm talking about. And that is what is so important. You need to make sure that when you are creating a trick, magicians look at it and go, yes, I can think of a place where I can put that. So there you have it. 5 ways to make a trick instantly more commercial from the creator's point of view. Number 1, clear, fast learning. Make sure that people can immediately get what it is, they understand what it is, and they can do it very, very quickly. We're going to use ape as an example. Check. Number 2, real world practicality. Yes, this is designed to work in the real world. You see me performing it in the real world. There's no angle issues. There's no issues with reset. There's no issues with, you don't even need a table. There's nothing. You can do it immediately. Number 3, fast, simple reset. Yes, you don't need to go out to the corner of the room. You can literally reset it in front of the audience. Number 4, durable, high quality props. Yes, we even include a leather holder so that you can take the cards and put them into the leather holder, and that leather holder is going to keep everything in place so that immediately you can take it out your pocket and perform it at whichever point in the act that you want to. And 5, seamless integration into existing tricks. It's a packet trick with a really interesting hook. If you're a social performer, it's a great trick to bring out with friends. If you're working pro, you can take that packet trick out that you already do and slot this one in instead. Do these 5 things, and magicians won't just buy your product, they'll actually use it. And once they use your product, that's when you get a great reputation, because you're then the creator that's creating magic that people actually use. And the best marketing in the world is when people say, mate, you need this. This is a trick that you need. And those conversations that happen with each other behind closed doors and at conventions, those are what's going to sell a product way more than any demo will. And that's all I've got to say about that. Guys, that is this week's 5x5. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you want to see more videos like this where I spend more time talking about creativity? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget, you want to see more videos this, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. And if you want to join the Netrix, which is my online streaming platform for magicians, just simply go to thenetrix.com. You can get access immediately. I want to say thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you again soon. My name's Craig, and this is Magic TV.